Man, I was just cruising on this airplane, looking at the flat horizon that rose to my eye level, looking at the sun, which was really close and big, when I wondered, how long have we been traveling at this altitude? It seems like we haven't been changing our altitude at all. So I looked up what the average cruising altitude for airplanes is, and I found out it's about 40,000 feet. Okay, so I wanted to visualize this on the ball that we lived on, cruising at 40,000 feet in a straight line. So I came up with this graphic: 40,000 feet going horizontal, because in my reality, a straight line is a straight line, right? I don't know about other people's realities, where a straight line is supposedly curved. But in my reality, the plane gains altitude as it gets further and further away. I mean, not before long. This plane should be in space, right? I mean, where did the horizon go? Hmm. So then I go back to my reality and I find out that we just take off, hit 40,000 feet, and cruise over flat land like everyone experiences. That's what reality is. But then some asshole on the plane told me that gravity kept us from going into outer space. So I asked him, how does that work? I really am wondering how that works. So he told me once you reach your cruising altitude, the gravity just bends you and you magically follow the curvature of the earth. And I asked, how is that? Can you explain to me what force is acting on it? How the force of gravity doesn't allow you to escape? Because I thought you took off. Weren't you just taking off? Weren't you just defying gravity? So why can't you defy gravity at 40,000 feet? Hmm? I mean, this is what you're expecting me to believe? You're taking off, and then once you hit 40 feet, you magically just follow the curvature, right? It's like a force field that you can't break. But I mean, if you want to go higher, you just tip your nose up, right? That's how you go higher. So if you have a plane that's going, say, 50,000 feet, wouldn't you just tip your nose up and break gravity, the supposable gravity that was keeping you from going into space, right? I mean, shouldn't you be in space by now if you're just going straight on a ball? I mean, how is it possible that this magical invisible force keeps the plane from going up, from increasing altitude? I'm This is so absurd. Do people actually believe this is happening? That the plane is magically curving? Like this is what's happening? Hmm, I don't know about that. All I know is that the plane takes off, rises its altitude to 40,000 feet, and then continues on that cruising altitude until it reaches its destination, and then it lands, because we live on a flat earth, not a curving ball where magical forces of gravity supposedly act as. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Look at this animation again and tell me how this makes sense. You're breaking all of those really strong layers of gravity, but once you just go horizontal, it just curves you. The plane curves for no apparent reason. Can somebody answer my question? I mean, first of all, I've already said this in my last video. There's no proof gravity even exists. We can't measure it. We still haven't been able to prove Einstein's theory. I mean, isn't gravity just density? Right? When Newton's apple fell from the tree, I think it just fell because the air molecules underneath it were a lot less dense than the apple, so it fell. Isn't gravity just the action of a falling object until it hits a more dense object? That's all it is. It's just density. That's why helium balloons can defy the big, strong force of gravity, because it's less dense than the air. Yeah. So next time you're on a plane, let me know if you really believe you're curving with the Earth because gravity says so, because that's what you've been told. And that's why I'm calling BS on planes magically curving with the Earth, because a force field, an invisible force, makes it so. Even though you can defy that force easily by tilting your nose up. So why don't you have to tilt your nose down to follow the curvature of the Earth? I don't know. Someone answer my question.